news.
I have a little news flash.
Let's check the headlines.
Nah, it's real news for once.
The biggest stories in the local, regional, and national news.
This is huge news.
It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Swings it out to Sadiq Bey. Defended in the corner!
To Abdul-Rahman at midcourt. Extra pass.
And it goes for the win! The three-pointer by Jordan Poole!
Here's the give.
Walker! Kenny Walker! Touchdown! Sparty!
Goff's got it. Back, looks, throws, ends up.
Yes!
Caught! Touchdown to Detroit Lions! They did it! Amon-Ra St. Brown on the receiving end!
Sends one to deep left center field. Back it goes, and that ball's
Out of here! A grand slam from Miguel Cabrera! He's got 2 goals! Larkin in on goal! Scores! His first career hat trick in his 7th season for Dylan Larkin!
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. Good Wednesday morning to you. It is Hump Day. It's also the 6th day of March 2024. Welcome here to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports and Network. Ben Glaze, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all joining you. Thank you for joining us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio and worldwide on the iHeartRadio app. We say good morning to you. We welcome you. We thank you. We appreciate you. And, of course, we encourage you to join the program at any time. Text the keyword Sports Radio. Send that to 21,000 Sports Radio to 21000. Our Myers Supercenter guest line, 866-838-4843. That's 866-838-4843. 866-838-HUGE. You tweet at us at XB Mornings. Facebook us, X's and Bros, and of course, good morning to our television audience as well. On BCSN and streaming live on our YouTube page at Michigan Sports Network at .com, and that to find our website, xbmornings@gmail.com is our fan feedback email inbox, and you can find us all individually on Twitter. Ben Glaze is at the Ben Glaze. Ryan Elke is at Ryan_Key, and I'm Anthony Bellino at AC Bellino. Gentlemen, good morning to both of you. Happy Wednesday.
Good morning, yeah.
What's going on? Anything good?
Not a whole lot. A little flustered this morning. Was running a little late, but everything's good to go.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I never would have known the difference.
Right.
So that's a positive, right?
Yeah. Woke up a little late, had a little late night, but everything's
Is your
good.
late night?
Yeah.
Tell me more. What do you
Oh,
got
just
here?
open mic comedy.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah.
right. On a Tuesday.
Yes.
Wow. Is your building there? Is it one floor, or is it like? Are you like up on?
Oh,
like
there's
the
a
8th floor?
gazillion. Yeah, I'm on 9.
Oh, you're on the 9th floor. Oh, you're
Yep.
way up there.
Yeah.
Really, I wonder what building that's in. If I've seen it before or not.
It's a bank building, so you've probably seen it.
Oh,
There's a
very
couple of
nice.
them down here.
Nice. I like the 9th floor. That sounds pretty good. In the evenings, I got to go up to the 8th floor.
Oh,
Ride the
okay.
elevator up. So
Yeah.
Interesting layout, interesting spread.
It'd be fun if for you if the elevators ever stop working.
No, that sounds terrible.
That happened here once.
Oof, yeah, no thank you. There's only 2 elevators that will go to the 8th floor.
Oh,
and then there's 4 garage doors for the parking garage inside the building. Only 1 door works.
Oh, wow.
And it's the parking garage from hell.
Okay.
It is you pull in, and it is unlike any other parking garage you've ever seen, because if you can't get parking on the very first floor, you basically go up a spiral staircase for a small vehicle, and that's how you get up.
Oh, wow.
Dude, it's crazy. It's like the pavement is basically built into like a berm.
Okay.
It was paved like up against the corners. Dude, it's wild. Your car will be like, it completely tilt to one side as you're trying to go up.
Oh, dang.
No, it's tight. It's tight. And, of course, the walls are always marked with all of the different, all the different war wounds of, being a parking garage that's been there for 120 years or whatever. So yeah, tough. I imagine when it was built, the Model Ts struggled, because I can only imagine trying to do it like a stick shift.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? Like, that's a totally different ball game.
Oh,
Automatic is fine, but stick shift, when you get stuck in an incline like that, that's a different different game.
Yeah,
that much is for certain. So, well, I'm glad you're there. That's always a good start, right?
Yep.
And it's we got a busy day today. We got a lot of good topics that we'll dive into. Jamal Crawford, aka Jay Crossover. Don't know if you saw him last night on TNT with Shaq and Candace Parker and that other guy, whatever his name is. But the longtime NBA sixth man and Michigan Wolverine, Jamal Crawford, he's been doing a lot of AAU traveling, and finally somebody speaking out that might be able to kind of help correct what's going on out there. So that'll be, we'll dive into that. The Tigers played yesterday. We had a massive night in Mid-American Conference hoops with the number 1 seed losing to Eastern Michigan. The Pistons fall in South Beach last night. We'll get more into Dylan Larkin's injury. And it's senior night for Michigan State tonight. And it's a big senior night. They have a lot on the line, basically everything on the line for the next 2 games, plus the Big Ten tournament. So at least maybe 3 games, and very, very, this isn't going to be easy. This is no easy task, and I think that anybody who just kind of overlooks it and just assumes that everything will be fine and they're in and don't worry about it, like, I don't know about that. By the way, did you see Alabama last night just get drilled by Florida? My goodness. Like, somebody wasn't ready to play. That much is for sure. You can't give up 100 points in a college game and expect to win. Holy jumping. And of course tonight too we'll get Red Wings hockey. So obviously very different night last night with the Wings not on. It feels like we're just kind of waiting each day for when the Red Wings will play. At least that's how I feel right now. I know that the Pistons were on last night. No offense to them, but we all know we know the drill, right? They're not very good. And so for the rest of it, it's kind of interesting, waiting each night to see where the Wings will play at, and they'll begin the first of 2 weeks without their captain Dylan Larkin. So there's there's a lot to get to there. What else is going on in the sports world? We'll try to get you all caught up with all the happenings. We'll do so right now in the headlines.
Big news.
I have a little news flash.
Let's check the headlines.
Nah, it's real news for once.
The biggest stories of the local, regional, and national news.
This is huge news.
All right, huge news. We're going to start in Major League Baseball. That's where we'll kick things off. The Red Sox right-hander Lucas Giolito with an elbow injury might miss the entirety of the season. Imaging showed damage to his right elbow. He was expected to be the Sox opening day starter. Now has a partially torn UCL and flexor strain that's going to require surgery and likely keep him out for all of 2024. Bad news bears early for the Red Sox. The Astros' Justin Verlander, former Detroit Tiger, will begin the season on the injured list as well. The Las Vegas Golden Knights have acquired former Detroit Red Wing Anthony Mantha in a deal for the Washington Capitals. It was Anthony Mantha with a 2024 second-round pick and a 2026 fourth-round pick going back to the Washington Capitals in exchange. So a big move there for Vegas and an interesting move there for Washington. Are they gearing up? Are they getting ready to sell it off? Zach Edey and Purdue rallying past the Illinois Fighting Illini for an outright Big Ten title. Congratulations to the Purdue Boilers. Boiler up, boiler ball, all that good stuff. North Carolina topped Notre Dame to clinch a share of the regular season ACC championship. So congratulations to them. That's pretty impressive from Armando Bacot and company. 162nd ACC game for Bacot. Number 7, North Carolina beating Notre Dame 84-51. Not just beating them, beating the hell out of them. The Celtics lost a 22-point lead in the fourth, giving up their 11-game win streak to the Cleveland Cavaliers last night. Zion Williams said he'll look to do the dunk contest if voted to be an all-star. So there you go. Now he's just trying to leverage that. An MRI on Jalen Brunson's knee is clean. He's still going to be out for a couple more games, we assume. Another triple-double for Luka Doncic. Another loss for the Dallas Mavericks. So that's not good. He had 39, 10, and 11 in the loss. The Mavericks outscored by 18 during the 43-minute stretch in which Doncic was on the floor. I don't know how that happens. A 137-120 home loss to who? The Indiana Pacers last night. And we'll step aside. We're back with more X's and Bros after this here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Huge here for my good friend Drew and the crew at Impact Power Sports. Now they're located on 14 Mile Road in Rockford, just north of Grand Rapids here on the west side of the state. They are Michigan's newest Yamaha go-to golf cart dealer. Now, if you're looking for a golf cart for the neighborhood, the business, the golf club, maybe that second home or the lake, stop by and see Drew and the crew. They can hook you up today at Impact Power Sports. They also have e-bikes, quads, side-by-side, yard toys for the big boys and the big girls. Anything you need when it comes to power, they have it at Impact Power Sports on 14 Mile Road in Rockford. Also, if you want a shot at winning Lomas Brown's Lions golf cart, a custom-built Lions golf cart, text IMPACT to 21000. That's IMPACT to 21000, and you could win Lomas Brown's Lions golf cart this summer from Impact Power Sports and the Huge Show.
We played for the thrill, that rush you feel with the game on the line. I'm Herman Moore, Lions All-Pro wide receiver. Now, with Eagle Casino and Sports, the new sportsbook app from Soaring Eagle, anywhere I'm at, I'm still in the game.
Sign up now and get up to $1,000. That's right, up to $1,000 for a risk-free bet on your next favorite underdog, parlay, or prop.
Eagle Casino and Sports. Made in Michigan, made for Michigan.
Must be 21 or older and in Michigan to play.
Coming up later today at 3 on the Huge Show on the Michigan Sports Network, I'll deliver huge opinions on everything you're talking about.
From Traverse City to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City, you're listening to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports and Network. Great to have you riding along with us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio and worldwide at the iHeartRadio app. It's an absolute pleasure to be with you here on this Wednesday. Detroit Tigers were in action, as were the Detroit Pistons yesterday. From a local level, however, we'll start with the Tigers here. They lost 3-0 to the Atlanta Braves. This game, unfortunately, not on the old TV set, but the Tigers got a 1-for-3 effort from Zach McKinstry, 1-for-3 from Kerry Carpenter. Justin Henry Malloy was 0-for-3. Colt Keith 0-for-2. You know, just kind of a blah day. Kreidler was 1-for-1 at the bottom of the lineup. Reese Olson got the start. He had 3 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 4 strikeouts. So nice for Reese there. That's a positive. Joey Wentz came in. He got the loss. He gave him an inning, gave up 1 hit, 1 earned run, walked 1 batter, and that was really basically all she wrote there. This team 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position and stranded 6, so less than ideal. A less than ideal day. Not really anything good of note. Dingler was out there. Dylan Dingler was out there. He was 0-for-1 coming in and catching. And obviously in the spring training game, this one was in Northport, Florida. 2 hours and 22 minutes to play this game. And the Tigers right now currently sit at 6-5 after the loss. I'm not worried about the spring training record. It wouldn't have mattered. If they were undefeated, okay, we'd probably be a little insufferable right now. Or if they were completely defeated, you played 10, 11, 12 games. Most teams have in the Grapefruit League. If they were sitting where Tampa Bay sitting at 2-7, I'm sure that would be a little concerning. But 6-5, right near in the top 4 of the Grapefruit League standings. They're tied with Atlanta and Houston, both at 6-5. Washington's 5-4. Boston's 8-4, and Baltimore is 10-2, with Tampa Bay 2-7 at the bottom, leading Toronto by a game, who is 3-8. So there's really, this is kind of, I guess 2-7 and 3-8 would they both be tied at the bottom, 6.5 games back of Baltimore. But it doesn't really matter who wins the Grapefruit League. You just want to be able to see your guys you're looking forward to seeing this upcoming season play really well, and you're hoping that they'll be able to go. You would think that Casey Mize would be up next because Skubal, Maeda, Flaherty, Olson, Mize has been the starting 5 rotation, and outside of that, just go. I'm done with spring training. All right, 11 games in, great, okay, let's go play real baseball. Let's go out there and really see what that opening day lineup is actually going to look like. With Tarek Skubal taking the hill. And I mentioned this a little bit yesterday, but I think that Tarek Skubal might be the biggest and brightest arm since Justin Verlander. I think that if he's not already, he will be a household name in American baseball across the country this coming season. I think that this is, he's primed for a breakout year. He's looked really good so far in spring training, and they're going to need somebody here that's going to step up and exceed expectation with Erod out, right? So remember, a couple of 2 seasons ago, is the year that he went AWOL, and then they got a really good year out of him last year, and he decided to move on and to cash the check, which is totally fine, but it's going to create a little bit of a void. You'd think that Kenta Maeda will be the guy that'll be able to step in, and who knows what we'll get out of him over the course of the season, to be determined. But this could really be Tarek Skubal's year to make a name for himself. Casey Mize, I hope that he reverts to the Casey Mize or better than before. The UCL Tommy John injury is pretty interesting, how guys are not only able to bounce back effectively, but sometimes almost bounce back better off than where they were prior to the injury, at least with a higher velocity. So it would be great to see Casey Mize be able to get back and really kind of fuel this rotation, that they're going to need some good days. Then everybody else, you got to just pray to God they hit to their average. If they can do that, then I give them a really good shot here to win the Central. And there's nobody, as I talked to John Wagner about this a while back. Have they made any moves that were the earth-shattering blockbuster that immediately made this team better? No, this team just kind of stayed relatively neutral from where they were at last season. Sure, maybe Gio Urshela at third base, gives them a better look, better opportunity, a little bit more experience there. But outside of that, there really hasn't been a move that's like, holy smokes, this team's on fire. Look at these guys. But this is where you expect the young kids to take a leap. If we can drop the kids moniker and they can all be just a young team that's full of promising stars. We can talk about how great the farm system is, and you can take us back to 5 GMs ago and what a great job they did. I don't even care at that point. As long as they're performing and playing well and giving us something entertaining post Stanley Cup playoffs, right? Because I think that this is where, with the Stanley Cup playoffs, those hop in. Obviously, the Pistons are smoked. There's nothing they're going to be able to do. But however, with the Red Wings on the cusp of making the playoffs, all they got to do is get in. They get into the playoffs, I think everything changes, and that will dominate for at least a week and a half, 2 weeks. That will dominate. Every game will be awesome. And then from there, we'll have if they can continue to move on, that's great. Just getting in, I'll be happy with, so we'll see. But it's going to be Tigers baseball time from there. And they're going to need a really strong couple of months to keep everybody dialed in before, the NFL's preseason, NFL's offseason activities begin, not just OTAs, but actual training camp there in August and getting ready for, they get, in my opinion, MLB's got, 2 months to really capitalize. And it's just a very interesting time of the season. As I've always said, I would change the calendars around a little bit. If I were the NHL, I would get away from having a similar calendar setup that the NBA does, maybe move a month later. And because the month of July, there's just nothing going on besides baseball. So you got a really good opportunity, in my opinion, if you're able to move everything back a month, start the season end of November, end the season, Stanley Cup Finals, end of July, going into August. I think that would be a really good way to generate some more buzz around the sport. And then once the playoff comes and, if you're trying to pick up a casual fan to be interested in the game of hockey, no better time to do it than the Stanley Cup playoffs. Plus, it just gives us a little bit of a reprieve, too, when all there is baseball on. So that's usually a help. All right, coming up, Jamal Crawford spreading the good word on what needs to be taking place throughout the AAU circuit. It is my belief that, AAU is really kind of the root cause in the death of, sport as we know it. And, nobody else really sees it like that. But all of the bad habits you see, it all comes from AAU, man. The AAU culture has just destroyed all things about sports. And, there have been a myriad of different issues in regarding school of choice and, guys transferring high schools now and wanting to bounce around this, that, and the third. But we'll get into all of that. We had a massive night in the Mid-American Conference last night in college hoops. Wow. Akron blew it royally because of the Eastern Michigan Eagles. How about them? The Pistons fall in South Beach. Dylan Larkin is injured, plus MSU Senior Night with literally everything on the line. I don't think that you can just go ahead and pencil them in. I know that there's been a lot of talk about, 8 seed, 9 seed, 10 seed. They got to win some games here down the stretch. They absolutely need to win some games here. Like, don't go into Selection Sunday, losers of 3 or 4 in a row. That's a bad situation right there. So I wouldn't take any of this for granted right now. If I was a Spartan fan, it's good. It's one thing to be confident about getting in. It's another thing to realize that, hey, they still got to win some games here. And this is going to be no easy task later on Senior Night at the Breslin. We'll step aside. We'll be back with more X's and Bros after this here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Fish on!
The Ultimate Sports Show Grand Rapids is back March 7 through 10.
Over 4 football fields of fishing tackle, fishing boats, fishing trips, and hunting gear, all inside the Boss Place.
Shop 2 acres of the newest tackle from Michigan dealers who know Michigan waters and game fish.
With traveling specialty baits only available here once a year.
Book the trip of a lifetime at lodges, fly-ins, charters, and resorts.
Meet the guides and lodge owners at the show.
It's a fishing boat supermarket.
Get the best boat prices of the year from dealers who specialize in rigging them right.
Free fishing and hunting seminars from the pros and guides on 5 stages.
See Lake Ultimate with bass boats floating right on the lake.
Plus rock climb and trout pond for the kids, hog trough, and more.
And the lumberjacks are back. See them climbing and log rolling on Lake Ultimate.
It's all at the Ultimate Sports Show this Thursday through Sunday at DeVos Place. Thursday only, bring in a bag of 6 or more non-perishable grocery items for sportsmen against hunger. Get free admission to the show. UltimateSportsShow.com.
Van Andel Institute Purple Community is a grassroots fundraising network powered by the dedicated volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve human health now and in the future. When you raise funds through the Van Andel Institute Purple Community, 100% of the proceeds go directly to the Institute's research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's, as well as VAI's science education programs. Learn how you can get involved at purplecommunity.org.
Tracy, over to you for weather.
The sun must be shining, Dave, because the 7 for 7 sale is back at Meijer. Mix or match hundreds of items like extra large avocados, Kraft macaroni and cheese, and Dannon Greek yogurt. Pick any 7 for just $7. There's a strong chance of saving with the same quality Meijer deals in-store or online. Back to you, Dave.
Sounds great, Tracy.
Deals so good, you've just got to talk about them. Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in the Meijer app.
Coming up later today at 3 on the Huge Show on the Michigan Sports Network, I'll deliver huge opinions on everything you're talking about.
Can't call in? Text us using the keyword sports radio and send it to 21000 or tweet us at XB Mornings. Now back to X's and Bros with Anthony Bellino here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports and Network. Great to have you ride along with us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening. You guys ever look for an email address and you can't find it? How does that happen? I know for a fact that I have had an exchange with Brad up there at 100.9 WLUN, The Loon, right? One of our great affiliates here across the state of Michigan. I can't seem to find this guy's email anywhere. You know, how am I supposed to talk to the czar of Saginaw, Midland, Bay City, West Branch, Frankenmuth, Mount Pleasant, Standish? Like, how am I supposed to connect with him if I can't find his email address? And it's too early to text him, so I guess I just put that on my list of things to do is to text him and see, like, hey, wait a minute, we got an email? Our email? And really interesting that randomly this morning at 6:34, which is just one of those numbers, 634, that is just kind of ingrained in my mind. So every time I see it, it's one of those things like, you realize it. I'm getting a text about Jalen Rose reacts to Michigan's hiring of Juwan Howard in the Rich Eisen show on May 31st of 2019. Jalen didn't do this show. Didn't do this from show when getting paid. Michigan guy interviewing a Michigan guy. You got to move past it. Rich Eisen is a proud Michigan alum, and he hosts a show. At the time, Jalen Rose was working for the four-letter network. Do you think he'll go back on Rich Eisen and talk about it? Do you think that Rich Eisen's producer will book him as a guest to discuss it? That's random. That's the most random thing I think I've ever seen at 6:34 in the morning on a Wednesday. Good to see you talking Michigan hoops though. First thing in the morning. That's what's really important. The 3-win Michigan Wolverines. All right, so Jamal Crossover, aka Jamal Crawford, took to the Twitterverse yesterday, and it created a little bit of a stir. And why did he do that? Well, he's got children, that's why. And he's got children, and it's become a situation where he is, he's actively seeing kind of what's going on in the world from a parent's standpoint now. And the interesting thing about Jamal Crawford is here's a guy who has played at the highest level, has done so for many, many years, was a sixth man of the year basically everywhere that he went. Like he was awesome. He was awesome. He'd come in off the bench and he would light it up, and there's nothing you could do about it. Like that guy, he had a crossover that was for the ages, right? And that's the way that he operated and played a much different game than a lot of people. And then his experience carried, really carried him throughout the rest of his career. Now he said this on Twitter or X or whatever you call it. Being to the gym over these last few months in national games, watching, listening, talking to, and hearing, there is a lot wrong with AAU, but the parents are near the top of that list. It's sickening. The delusion that exists is crazy. If we're always making excuses for our children's behavior where it has to become someone else's fault, and we're not teaching them accountability, we're setting them up to fail. If we're always criticizing a coach or a program who is given their own time to benefit your children's development and well-being, and that's not enough, you should coach them to give them all you want to have. As parents, we have to be better. Looking back when I played AAU, the thing I take the most pride in is my mom and dad never complained to one coach I ever played for from 8 years old and on. They said, you want all the things you say you want, figure it out, go get better. Looking back, I wear that with pride. And that comes from a guy who has played at the NBA level that knows what it takes. Knows what it takes to make it to the level that all these people are aspiring to be. And Gino Auriemma talking about it, saying that, in America here, we'll play 6 games in 6 days and practice 1. But overseas, they practice 6 days and play for 1. And it is such an odd point that we live in because, there is probably more parental influence than ever before in sports because of the way that our society is, quickly eroding. You look at overtime elite in whatever the hell that league is. The Thompson brothers obviously coming from OTE, not going the college route, how much that has changed. And I get, okay, everybody wants to make the big bucks and everybody's going to be a superstar and this, that, and the third. I get all that. I understand. But when you think about the coaching that used to be there, now we'll see what happens, with college coaching in the state that it is right now because of the amount of high-level Hall of Fame, top-tier coaches that have left the sport, the Roy Williams of the world, the Coach K's of the world, Jay Wright, like a lot of big names with a lot of basketball experience have left the game. We're seeing this on the football side as well. And the equivalent for football is the 7-on-7 circuit, where you have a bunch of guys attacking Cam Newton. Now, Cam Newton did have a witch's hat on, so perhaps maybe they thought it was Salem, Massachusetts a couple hundred years ago, and the kids were worried, so they attacked him. I don't really know. But regardless, don't attack Cam Newton. I mean, just sheer physical strength. He's not – guy played NFL football. You think he's going to back down from throwing hands, you're out of your mind. The equivalent to 7-on-7 in AAU would be like travel ball in baseball. And we have put such a we've put such a premium on youth athletics, and it's look, I get it. It's very lucrative. It's very lucrative. There's I think about like camps and the camps that were in the area when I was a kid. So much has changed. The coaching is so much better. It's so much better right now. You have more people out there with more experience. You have more availability, and you have more accessibility. You've got more leagues, more teams. We just have more, right? And so when I was coaching, the issue that we would have with the AAU discussion, that's what they called it. Not every summer league team is AAU, but it's a phrase that we can use to kind of embody the entire offseason and or summer league culture that is. When you think about what you're doing in the summer, right? And for our high school, we used to go to Adrian College or Siena Heights. We used to go to Siena Heights, and we'd stay and we'd play like a week there. And that was a big deal, right? And then outside of that, it was kind of really it. You had the local camps at the local high school, and that was really about it in our area. They probably should have gone more places, done more things, seen more things. But I didn't know what I didn't know. I was just a kid, and you don't know what you don't know, and kind of is what it is. In today's realm, I saw this a little bit when I was coaching, but as you have your parents meeting very early and explain to them that their kid's not LeBron and you are not, Phil Jackson. As long as everybody understands that, you're probably going to have a pretty good season. Don't expect your kid to play a single minute. You're going to have a great year. Clap for everybody. Cheer. Remember why we are here. There isn't a whole lot that's going to take place between 5th grade and 8th grade that is going to change the necessary trajectory of your child or the trajectory of your child. But what can help is throughout the summer doing some individual skill work. That can help, right? Because individuals are going to get better during the offseason. Teams are going to get better during the season, or at least that's the theory. But the fact that it takes a guy like Jamal Crawford to come forward and to speak out on the erosion of what is taking place, and Ryan's coaching 5th grade, if I'm not mistaken, so I'm sure he's seen little bits and pieces of this, whether on his own team or teams he has coached against, unless he's just really lucky and found a great league. But when coaching youth basketball, there were some, and you knew right away, you knew the way that things were handled. I like to run a really organized program. So, the kids were, they knew what was going on. They knew what was expected of them when we showed up to the gym. They knew when the 5-minute warm-up period came on, like what we were doing, where we were going. And, we played to win. We wanted to win. It's a good thing to teach. But we weren't going to win by sacrificing our own integrity or meeting, the goals and standards that we, kind of set for ourselves. Right. And, you'd have other coaches that you could tell immediately the way in the first quarter they're hooting and hollering. They're not instructing, they're not teaching, they're just yelling. Coaches that want to spend more time arguing with the refs over a call than actually want to explain why in the world their offense isn't working. And then they don't have a backup plan, right? My biggest pet peeve in the league is zone. I don't think that zone teaches young kids anything. I think that zone is a great way to hide on defense. I think that zone is doesn't need to be taught until later on in junior high. But I think that all leagues, if you were going to have a 4-quarter league, I would allow that only the second quarter would you be able to play zone. Every other quarter you have to play man-to-man. And the reason for this is to be able to teach good man-to-man principles so that when your kid gets drafted by the Detroit Pistons, they know where the bleep they're supposed to be on the backside, ready to help. Right? Like that's the frustrating thing. That's what's frustrating. But when you have a guy like Jamal Crawford who's made it to that level, I don't know how you argue with him. I really don't. And it's not going to – the fearful portion of this with the expansion of 7-on-7, which I think is a joke, but whatever. You want to run out there with your Michelin Man little rubber helmet thing on and, do a bunch of, quarterbacks and running, wide receivers. And has it made the quarterback better? Yeah, the quarterback is more prepared today coming out of college than they've ever been. That's just a fact, right? We have seen in the last 5 years to maybe go back to 2015, use that as a good launch point. We've seen quarterbacks exponentially more prepared to play NFL football coming out of college, right? That's a product of this nonstop work at it. And I think that everybody sees that. Like everybody sees this, what's the difference between Patrick Mahomes and your kid? Outside of the fact that Patrick Mahomes is technically a professional athlete in 2 sports. But really, like what is the difference between the kid that makes it and the kid that doesn't make it? Is it God-given talent? Is it work ethic? Is it belief? And I think that a lot of times, rarely is your child, and you may know one of these guys, who's just got the athletic ability to go play big-time major college basketball, for example, right? You might know one of those kids or maybe have seen one of those kids. And you've probably seen a lot of kids that could probably play MAC or, equivalent, low major, mid-major sort of hoops. Maybe they go D2, D3. What really separates a lot of that is, sure, you're gonna have the guy that's got the God-given talent, but also like your attitude and your work ethic. There's going to be some physical qualifications you're probably going to need to have. The smaller you are, the exponentially more athletic you need to be. If you're 6'9", they're probably going to have some leeway with you because you can't teach height, right? There's a reason they say that. If you're 5'9", you better be a damn good player. If you think you're going to play high major hoops, because everybody's huge. Watching Denver last night, Denver and Phoenix last night, and watching everybody run up and down the court. On television, you can't do it any justice, but everybody out there is the size of an alien. Like Kevin Durant, Nikola Jokic, Jusuf Nurkic, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., like everybody's huge. I don't think you understand that. 6'3" is like a pedestrian out there. That's not normal height, right? Like 5'10" is. So you walk into a store, you're like, wow, you see like a big person. You're like, wow, that's a large human right there. Yeah, imagine nine other large humans out there running around. It's pretty intense. So unless you have like that God-given ability or physical stature, it's typically your attitude and your work ethic that's going to separate you. If it's between 2 kids, the guy that shows up, the guy that's really coachable, that's probably the guy that's going to get the benefit of the doubt, right? Because he's going to work at it. And I look at the erosion of AAU. I look at the way I saw a video of a 16U travel baseball team that was in the parking lot. They had like a giant trailer, and they were lifting weights before their 10 o'clock game. Like, okay, but that's insane. Like that's insane. Would it have been cool? Yeah, I probably would have wanted to play for an organization that is like that. But it's kind of delusional, right? It's a summer league baseball game. In travel ball, one of those things, much like travel soccer, that has just become so expensive. They've priced out a large portion of society, which is highly unfortunate. And just on the state of youth athletics. So I guess the whole point of this is not only to share Jamal Crawford speaking out, but maybe for you, the parent. Maybe you take some of these segments that we talk about youth sports, and you take it and you run with it. And you say, you know what, I'm going to be a really good parent. I'm going to be a really good parent. My kid's going to be playing at 4 Forest Hills East or Grand Rapids, whatever, or, Flint Beecher. And you just say, I'm gonna cheer for everybody and be, if my kid is in the game, I hope he does really well. And if your kid's in the game, I hope he does really well. And I'm going to clap for him, and I'm going to be proud of them. And you hope that they have a good experience. Someone who is relatively close to me over the years had some issues with basketball and transferring schools and stuff of that nature. And I would listen to the way the father would talk, and I'm like, look, man, I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong. I'm proud of your kid. I am. But I don't think I need a stat update with a highlight reel after every Tuesday night high school basketball game. I think that's a little overkill. Does he want to do it? And is everything the coach's fault? Is that why we're, in football not getting enough catches, so you transfer? In basketball, not getting enough opportunity because what? So you're going to transfer schools, and then the new school, not getting enough touches, but whatever. The whole thing, it just follows you on. Wherever you go, if that's your mindset and your attitude as to how you want to approach your children's sports, right? So, for a majority of us, it's the intangibles and the other stuff that sports teaches, and then for the top 1%, they'll go on to play college, and 1% of that will go on to play professional, and we'll continue to watch and see how things maybe pick up. But maybe you'll just be a really good parent, right? Make sure you contribute to the goodie bags and, give them, throw some fruit in there, would you? A little orange slice in the brown paper bag. Used to love those days, right? And you're making a sandwich, and sure, you don't have to go out and get Subway every time. You can just make a sandwich at home. It's probably a lot more cost effective as well. We're going to step aside when we return. We have a big night in the Mid-American Conference. We have a new number one, or at least a tie for number one in the MAC after an Eastern Michigan upset. We'll get you up to date on what's going on there. Purdue clinches the Big Ten last night in the Complainer Bowl. Who complains the most on Twitter? It's like a 3-horse race, but two of the teams went head-to-head last night. We'll get into that. The Pistons dropped their game in Miami in South, but against the Heat. But I was actually really proud of the way that the Pistons played for a majority of the game. They just didn't shoot it worth a lick from three. Jaden Ivey just could not buy a basket from long range. It's like, my God, if just one of these falls, just let him see one go in. Please, for the love. Dylan Larkin is injured, plus Michigan State. It's senior night tonight, with everything on the line for the Izzo kids. And, think back to like Michigan State's camp. I was at working women's basketball on Sunday night, and I saw a very, someone who I would consider, someone close in my life. She works in television for 13 ABC, and both of her daughters, they are freshmen, and they're twins, and they're both really interested in U of M. And, they're at freshman 5'9". Like, it's so. I was trying to explain to them because they have a brother that's going on to play college basketball next year. In women's hoops, like at 5'9", like you can do it. Like, you just have to believe that you can do it. The physical requirement isn't there like it is on the men's side of things. So you can, absolutely. 5'9", go right ahead, ladies. Just believe and you can achieve. We'll be back hour 2 next.
Score big at the Soaring Eagle $100,000 Bingo Bash, Saturday, March 16th. The action kicks off at 3 p.m., and you can win amazing prizes, including overnight stays, 65-inch TVs, free bingo play, and slot play. And the winning is just beginning. Win concert tickets, gift cards, and more. Make plans now and score big. Soaring Eagle's $100,000 Bingo Bash, Saturday, March 16th at the Soaring Eagle Bingo Hall. Must be 18 to play. For complete rules, go to SoaringEagleCasino.com. Score big.
Fish on! The Ultimate Sports Show Grand Rapids is back March 7 through 10.
Over 4 football fields of fishing tackle, fishing boats, fishing trips, and hunting gear, all inside the Boss Place.
Shop 2 acres of the newest tackle from Michigan dealers who know Michigan waters and game fish.
With traveling specialty baits only available here once a year.
Book the trip of a lifetime at lodges, fly-ins, charters, and resorts.
Meet the guides and lodge owners at the show.
It's a fishing boat supermarket.
Get the best boat prices of the year from dealers who specialize specialize in rigging them right.
Free fishing and hunting seminars from the pros and guides on 5 stages.
See Lake Ultimate with bass boats floating right on the lake.
Plus rock climb and trout pond for the kids and the hog trough, a truck-size aquarium filled with game fish.
And the lumberjacks are back. See them climbing, chopping, and log rolling on Lake Ultimate.
It's all at the Ultimate Sports Show, March 7 through 10 at DeVos Place.
Downtown Grand Rapids.
Sportsmen never miss it.
Save big on fuel with M-Perks. Earn points on your Meijer purchases in-store and online. Then use your points to claim a fuel reward and save up to $1 off per gallon of gas at Meijer. Claim your M-Perks fuel rewards in the Meijer app and ID at the pump to save. Plus, earn points for qualifying Meijer Express purchases and look for exclusive Meijer Express offers. Download the Meijer app to sign up or see Meijer.com to learn more. 10 cents to $1 off per gallon based on points earned. Exclusions apply. Not valid in Wisconsin. Max 30 gallons.
Roast Umber is a farm-direct coffee sourced from Central American farmers and roasted in Grand Rapids. And also the Nitro Cold Brew Coffee is a convenient and healthy option for energy with no sugar additives. Look for it at your local retailer or at roastumber.com.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Huge here. AB's doing a heck of a job, and I'm ready to drop some huge opinions about what he's talking about later today at 3 on the Michigan Sports Network.
Good morning, everyone.
It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
How are you?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's a good morning. Wake up to a brand new day.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports and Network. Great to have you all riding along with us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio and worldwide. In the iHeartRadio app, you can text the keyword Sports Radio, send that to 21,000 Sports Radio to 21000. Meijer Supercenter guest line 866-838-4843. That's 866-838-4843. 866-838-HUGE. We're on Twitter at XB Mornings, Facebook, X's and Bros, and of course, good morning to our television audience as well. BCSN and streaming live on our YouTube page at Michigan Sports Network. Add.com to that to find our website. xbmornings@gmail.com is our fan feedback email inbox. And you can find us all individually on Twitter. Ryan Elke is at RyanL_Key. Ben Glaze is at the Ben Glaze, and I'm Anthony Bellino at 8C Bellino. All right, so I was watching the press conference video, or not press conference video, but the interview video from the Rich Eisen show back in 2019 when Juwan Howard was hired and Jalen Rose was a guest because it was sent to me this morning. And I asked this because it doesn't affect me personally, and I know that people want it to, right? When every time Michigan loses a game, they think that inside I'm dying or something. I'm not. The Michigan State rivalry is a lot of fun because of the way that some people can't seem to handle a rivalry in sports. The Ohio State one is the same way. You can look at the way that J.J. McCarthy is being discussed on Twitter right now, as he has been in one mock draft, pick number 3. Do I think that's right? I don't think so, but you know what? It doesn't really matter to me. Wherever he goes, I hope he has a wonderful career. If you went to Michigan, I hope you have a great pro career. And if you play for my team and didn't go to Michigan, I hope you have a great pro career for my team. Outside of that, win, lose, or draw doesn't really change anything for me. At the end of the day, all it can do is add more days to work. That's all it does for me. So it's different to watch this. I don't take it personally. And it's the same question I keep going back to every time that Jalen Rose is brought up on this program. All I want to know is, what do you want him to say? That's all I want to know. Like, what do you want to hear from Jalen Rose? As Jalen Rose joined Rich Eisen on the Rich Eisen show after Juwan Howard was hired. Jalen Rose, at the time, a prominent media figure on ESPN. What would you like Jalen Rose? That's all I need to have answered, is what do you want him to say? What do you want him to come out and say? And then if you can answer me that, then maybe I can have a little bit more of a better background and understanding where the sentiment is coming from. Because that's what I don't understand. I don't know of anybody who isn't excited about the hiring of a head coach. And if you want to apply the same logic that's being applied to when Juwan Howard was allegedly anointed, look at Jonathan Smith at MSU, the new head football coach. I don't see too many Michigan State fans tweeting out anything real negative about Jonathan Smith. I think that most people are excited that he is going to be the head coach and are hoping that he does really well. Because we know that if he doesn't do really well, especially in that sport, it's a little bit different than the other sports. If Michigan State doesn't get this thing figured out quick, they're going to get forgotten about. And I'm telling you, Michigan's got to do the same thing with Sharon Moore. A lot of Michigan fans are very excited about Sharon Moore, as they should be. You should be excited. You should be supportive of your new head coach. I don't know why anybody would look at a hiring of a new coach. I mean, sometimes a guy gets hired and you absolutely hate it. But at the end of the day, all you can really do is support it. and then just kind of see what happens from there. I had really hoped that Matt Patricia was going to work out in Detroit. It didn't. It didn't work out. If you think I'm taking shots, the 86 and 89 teams were my favorite teams after the 84 Tigers. My only point was he can talk without getting paid. Okay, but what do you want him to say? That doesn't answer the question. What would satisfy you, the viewer, you, the listener, if I could get Jalen Rose on the show tomorrow to join us, what would you want him to say? What would be something that you would ask Jalen Rose? Maybe that's a good way to put it. What would be a question that you would ask him, and then what are you hoping to hear from him? Like, why is it that Jalen Rose is, or maybe it's C. Webb, but he doesn't do a whole lot of media anymore. Maybe it's Jimmy King, maybe it's Ray Jackson, maybe any of them. But we'll stick with Jalen because he seems to be the focal point of random. I mean, Michigan basketball isn't even relevant. They play Sunday against Nebraska. Keisei Tominaga is coming to town, and Keisei Tominaga is coming to town with some bad intentions. That young fella that guy is nasty, and that's who knows? It's senior day. But what do you want Jalen to say? You want him to say, like, hey, I was hoping that my friend who got hired, my former teammate, a guy that came in and, the first ever 9-figure deal in the NBA, a 2-decade-long career, who joined Eric Spoelstra in the Miami Heat, right? A very well-run organization under the guidance of the Godfather himself, Pat Riley. A championship pedigree sort of team. I mean, last night, they have the city jerseys in the NBA, which are so stupid. They're so dumb. The NBA needs to worry less about jerseys and changing the color of the court every other 4 days and figure out how to fix their actual league. That's about as nicely as I can say that. But their city uniforms in Miami literally say Heat culture, like it's a thing. Now, whether or not it's a thing that you have to believe in from the outside, it doesn't matter. They believe in it there in Miami. And that's what Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra and that program, that's what they run on. And so you're an assistant coach there. The head coaching position opens up at the University of Michigan. And what I find is very interesting is that early on in his tenure, everyone pointed to Phil Martelli and said, Juwan's not the coach, he's a puppet. It's really Phil Martelli. Even the very individual that is texting me right now talked about how Phil Martelli was the actual guy pulling the strings. So why doesn't Phil Martelli, and I love Phil Martelli, I'm asking you, for all you Phil Martelli's really the real man behind this whole thing, where's all the commentary regarding Phil Martelli? That went right out the window. What are you looking for from Jalen Rose to explain or to say, whether he is paid to do it or not paid to do it, right? And trying to put, there's a reason Jimmy King was not interviewed regularly by anybody. There's a reason why Jalen Rose was when talking about the hiring of Juwan Howard. Because Jalen Rose at the time is a media professional who everybody knows. He's got name recognition. He's got a long NBA career. He's on ESPN every day of the week. That's why they went to him. Chris Webber joined Rich Eisen to talk about it as well. It's C. Webb, for God's sakes. Hall of Fame caliber player. But they didn't. Who was calling Ray and Jimmy? Who was calling them? The Fab Five documentary came out, the 30 for 30 on the Fab Five. And Duke, there's a lot of good momentum there. It didn't work out. It did not work out. They're a poorly coached basketball team. They're even worsely recruited. I mean, I've said it. I've said it here. I don't shy away from it. Like, that's a bad basketball team. For God's sakes, they got 3 wins in conference. What else do you need to hear from me to satisfy or to check the box? What else do you need to hear from Jalen Rose? Like, it didn't work. We took a call yesterday from a guy that wanted to compare Michigan football to Michigan basketball and how the coach is seen because of how there's wins and losses. Some people will never get over the Connor Stallions thing, and that's okay. So the more that they don't get over it, the more I dig in on it. I love Connor Stallions. You know what Michigan basketball needs? Connor bleeping Stallions. Step aside. More X's and Bros after this.
Huge here for my good friend Drew and the crew at Impact Power Sports. Now, they're located on 14 Mile Road in Rockford, just north of Grand Rapids here on the west side of the state. They are Michigan's newest Yamaha go-to golf cart dealer. Now, if you're looking for a golf cart for the neighborhood, the business, the golf club, maybe that second home or the lake, stop by and see Drew and the crew. They can hook you up today at Impact Power Sports. They also have e-bikes, quads, side-by-side, yard toys for the big boys and the big girls. Anything you need when it comes to power, they have it at Impact Power Sports on 14 Mile Road in Rockford. Also, if you want a shot at winning Lomas Brown's Lions golf cart, a custom-built Lions golf cart, text IMPACT to 21000. That's IMPACT to 21000, and you could win Lomas Brown's Lions golf cart this summer from Impact Power Sports and the Huge Show.
There's a new player in town. Hi, I'm Herman Moore, Lions All-Pro wide receiver, and I'm talking about Eagle Casino and Sports, the real money mobile casino. It's so easy to play. You can go from wager to winner to wallet, just like that.
Sign up now and we'll match your deposit up to $1,500. Or you can get a risk-free bet up to $1,000.
Eagle Casino and Sports. Made in Michigan, made for Michigan.
Must be 21 or older and in Michigan to play.
Roast Umber is a farm-direct coffee sourced from Central American farmers and roasted in Grand Rapids. And also the Nitro Cold Brew Coffee is a convenient and healthy option for energy with no sugar additives. Look for it at your local retailer or at roastumber.com. Coming up later today at 3 on the Huge Show on the Michigan Sports Network, I'll deliver huge opinions on everything you're talking about.
You're listening to Michigan's statewide morning show, X's and Bros, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. Great to have you ride along with us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio and worldwide on the iHeartRadio app. Got a text message here that Gordon Hayward is on his second decade in NBA basketball. I guess I don't know. Was he ever an all NBA selection, a two-time champ, and all rookie team member, or an all-star? That I don't know. I mean, look, I don't want to spend today battling back and forth over Juwan Howard. I'm not sure what else I need to say. I feel like I'm pretty open on it, pretty honest about it. If you have some questions about the team, I'm more than happy to share my thoughts about the team. But there's a reason that we don't really take that many calls or that many texts about Michigan basketball. It's because they're not any good. The team has spiraled completely out of control. Shared my thoughts on that. I've shared my thoughts on the head coach. I don't see how there's not a change made for the 2023-2024, the 24-25 campaign. So I don't really know what else you want from me. I don't know what else you want from Jalen Rose. But I guess I would like that explanation. Like, what would you like him to say? I'm still stuck on that, and I'm still going to ask that question probably every day now until I get an answer as to what you would like to hear from Jalen Rose. Would you like him to come out and say what I've said, that he is shocked that the program is in the place that it is in? Would you like him to come out and say that he is surprised at the overall lack of success that this team has had, or the massive underachieving that this team has done? Would you like to say that? Would you like Jalen Rose to say that he is surprised that this team has had to go repetitively to the portal year after year to fill out their roster because we haven't recruited well? What would you like him to say? So I'll hang up and listen and wait for a response in that regard. And then we could shift gears to what took place last night, a wild night in the Mid-American Conference. Why is it wild? Remember, only 8 teams in the MAC make it to Cleveland. They decided to do their tournament a little bit different, and I don't mind it. The West Coast Conference tournament comes out, and Gonzaga and St. Mary's they get the 1 and 2 seed. And the way that bracket is done is that they leave them there until the semifinals. So if you're the 1 and 2 seed, the West Coast Conference bracket is really something it's really a work of art, the way that they do this bracket. Because if you are, I think, the 9th seed, you got to play 5 games to win the conference. And then if you're the 1 or the 2 seed, you got to win 2 games. So the bracket is very lopsided as to, 8 plays 9, and then that team plays 7, and then that team plays 6, right? And it just keeps going on and on until you get to 1 and 2. But it's set up that way so that the odds favor and maybe more importance on the regular season for that individual tournament there. Now, in the Mid-American Conference, the way that they used to do it is that the top seeds, the higher seeds, 1 through 4 would get a bye, and they would get to go right to Cleveland, whereas 5 through 12, they would host the first round on campus and then go to Cleveland after that. They decided what they were going to do is only take the top 8 teams to avoid a catastrophe that is a team that is terrible making it to the NCAA tournament. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to eliminate the odd chance that a team, in for relevance and reference this year, the worst team in the MAC is Buffalo at 2-15. If Buffalo gets granted entry into the Mid-American Conference tournament, you get hot for 1 week, and there is a way that team can make it to the NCAA tournament. They are not trying to have that happen. So what they are trying to have happen is kind of what they are doing right now, and that is the top 8 teams get in, where your teams on the bubble right now would be Kent State and Western Michigan. So last night, a wild night in the Mid-American Conference. This is what it looked like. You had Toledo beating Miami on the road at Miami, I'm sure in front of like 12 people, because Miami can't draw worth a damn, and it's really a shame. But I didn't get a chance to see any of that game. And with the win, 97-63, Toledo improves to 13-4 in the conference. They're 19-11 overall. The Ohio Bobcats, Barlow's buddies, they went on the road and beat Buffalo by 12, 78-66. So Sharif Mitchell and A.J. Clayton each scored 23 points for the Bobbies, who now are 12-5 in conference play. One game back of winning the conference. Crazy. Ball State beats Kent State, so that ties Kent State with Western Michigan for the final spot, moves Ball State one game back of getting into the top 8. Ball State is 7-10 in conference. Western Michigan and Kent State are both 8-9. The biggest upset was the fact that Akron was hosting Eastern Michigan and lost by 1 point, 61-60. What in the hell is going on with the Akron Zips, who are 21-9 overall, 13-4 in MAC play, to lose to Eastern Michigan, who right now is the 10th best team in the MAC? They were 5-11 going into the night. They're 6-11 now. Bowling Green beats Western, and that officially punches the ticket for BGSU with the 73-65 win over the Broncos. That was a huge game between those two. And Central Michigan, they were pretty comfortable in their positioning right now with 11 wins in conference play, 69-63, your final score on the road against Northern Illinois. Congratulations to the Chippewas, who currently sit in the 4th seed, right? So the way that this shakes out, because of those games there, the win by Bowling Green, the win by Ball State, those are probably the two most important. With one game to play, that's it. Like, that is a must-win game for Ball State. They were able to do it and get it done. And I am, I'm happy for them. Good for the Ball State Cardinals. For Akron to lose that game, that is an all-time choke job right there. That's an all-time choke, considering the fact you're playing Eastern Michigan, you're at home, you are in first place in the conference. You could win the regular season, probably hang a banner for it if that's what you do there in your arena. It's been a long time since I've been to the Jar, but get the date thrown up there on the banner, and you choke it away like that. That is unbelievable to lose. And no offense to anybody who's listening who's an Eastern Michigan person, but that is just god-awful. Now Akron will travel to Western Michigan for a 6 o'clock tip-off on the CBS Sports Network Friday night. Friday night's the last day of Mid-American Conference basketball. Kent State will go to Toledo. Kent State absolutely needing to win, because where they sit, one game above Ball State and tied with Western Michigan. So Western Michigan's got to win. Ball State's got to win to save their lives. Ball State's taking on Bowling Green. BG's ticket is already punched. That one's in Bowling Green at the Stroh Center. Ohio travels to Miami, so they'll be jockeying for position there, with Ohio looking at either being the 3 seed or the 4 seed, depending on whether or not they lose, and what happens with Central Michigan, who hosts Eastern Michigan. Central right now is a 4 seed. Buffalo and Northern Illinois is the one game you can kind of throw out, because that's between 11 and 12, and both of their seasons are effectively over at this point. But everybody else has at least something to play for now at this point of the season, which is exactly what you want. That's exactly what you want. You want your teams playing meaningful games at the end of the season with a lot on the line. That's what we have going on right now. That's what is exciting about it. And, that is why last night's Akron loss is just astounding to me. I cannot believe that took place. To lose at home to Eastern Michigan with all of that on the line, holy hell. That is an all-time choke there from the Akron Zips. Shout out to Zippy, the 2008 Capital One mascot of the year, by the way, the little kangaroo guy that they have. But that's midweek MACtion, right? I mean, that's what it is. So outside of the fact that Toledo romped Miami 97-63, that was the biggest news, the fact that Eastern Michigan beat Akron 61-60, and now we have a two-headed race for that final number 1 spot, with both teams playing on CBS Sports Network, nationally televised. That's awesome. All right, we're going to step aside, back with more X's and Bros after this Michigan Sports Network.
Finish on!
The Ultimate Sports Show Grand Rapids is back March 7 through 10.
Over 4 football fields of fishing tackle, fishing boats, fishing trips, and hunting gear, all inside the Boss Place.
Shop 2 acres of the newest tackle from Michigan dealers who know Michigan waters and game fish.
With traveling specialty baits only available here once a year.
Book the trip of a lifetime at lodges, fly-ins, charters, and resorts.
Meet the guides and lodge owners at the show.
It's a fishing boat supermarket.
Get the best boat prices of the year from dealers who specialize in rigging them right.
Free fishing and hunting seminars from the pros and guides on 5 stages.
See Lake Ultimate with bass boats floating right on the lake.
Plus rock climb and trout pond for the kids, hog trough, and more.
And the lumberjacks are back. See them climbing and log rolling on Lake Ultimate.
It's all at the Ultimate Sports Show this Thursday through Sunday at DeVos Place. Thursday only, bring in a bag of 6 or more non-perishable grocery items for sportsmen against hunger. Get free admission to the show. UltimateSportsShow.com.
Huge here for Van Andel Institute Purple Community. Now, they're a grassroots fundraising network powered by the volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve health now and in the future. Learn more at purplecommunity.org.
Tracy, over to you for weather.
The sun must be shining, Dave, because the 7 for 7 sale is back at Meijer. Mix or match hundreds of items like extra large avocados, Kraft macaroni and cheese, and Dan Greek yogurt. Pick any 7 for just $7. There's a strong chance of saving with the same quality Meijer deals in-store or online. Back to you, Dave.
Sounds great, Tracy.
Deals so good, you've just got to talk about them. Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in the Meijer app.
Huge here. AB's doing a heck of a job, and I'm ready to drop some huge opinions about what he's talking about later today at 3 on the Michigan Sports Network.
This is X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Well, our guy Kyle Rowland is up early this morning, already responding to tweets. Got some questions here about the tiebreaker. Kyle says that Toledo wins in all scenarios. My question is, I don't know how the MAC does it from the tie-breaking scenarios, since Toledo is in Akron are 1-1 against each other. Akron won by 7 the first go around. Toledo won by, oh man, maybe I did some math wrong. No, Akron won by 7, Toledo won by 8, so Toledo would be +1. I can't even do simple math right now. Oh, yeah, that's bad. Geez, I guess I gotta pull that down and restart. 72-64 was the Rockets' win. That's an 8-point differential, and they lost by 7 the first go around. So yeah, as long as if both teams win, then I would assume that Toledo would win the regular season. However, if Akron loses, then we got really nothing to worry about. So I need to adjust that real quick while trying to talk about a completely different topic, and that's always really difficult to try to multitask. Also, a viral video of a woman going crazy right now that I just saw on the internet. That is apparently somebody saw some spilled some nacho cheese or something. A guy was at a Bruins game trying to just eat some chips and cheese and a little bit of nacho cheese. Like, I guess there was a little bit of an accident. She just goes rogue on him, and he's sitting there patiently trying to wipe the cheese off the jacket. I don't know. It's going crazy. Check it out on the Twitter at AC Bellino. That's man, that's rough. All right. Anyways, so I got to get back to fixing that tweet real quick. The Pistons were in action last night, taking on the Miami Heat in South Beach. Oh, a game that they were so close yet so far away from. Proud of the effort of the Detroit Pistons last night. Jimmy Butler taking over late. Like, that's kind of what we expect out of a guy like Jimmy Butler. They lose 118 to 110. And once again, and I think there's a little bit of a misconception about, when I talk about defense with the Pistons, you don't have to have 17 blocks a game. Because today's NBA player is just vastly more skilled top to bottom, right? Most guys can put it on the floor, get to the bucket when they want to. Most 7-footers can shoot. Like, it's a much different game. And so I'm not expecting, this Pistons team or any team in the future to turn the clock back to 2004, where the pace was much slower and they're holding teams under 70 points. And I think the team opponent's points per game was like 88 or something like that. Like, I don't see that happening in another season ever in the NBA, unless every player in the NBA currently decides to sit out in 1 year and they bring in like a bunch of scabs to play. If there's like a lockout, that's about the only way that I could imagine this happening. The first game of the year, the Pistons lost the first game of the year in this matchup. The Pistons lost 103-102 in that first week of the season. And that was that was when Dan Burke was coaching on the coaching staff, and he was in charge of this team defensively, and then he left for personal reasons. We haven't heard anything from him since. The Heat come around this time, and they win 118-110. And when watching this game last night, by the way, Duncan Robinson talking about a move that he made was hilarious, because he said he's only done it like a couple of times and he kind of blacked out when it happened. But he was on the baseline, and it acted like he was going to dribble back to the wing and went behind his back in front of Asar Thompson, and then like faked and went back baseline and hit a reverse layup. And I was like, wow, Duncan Robinson in his bag, as the kids say. This team just shot the ball dreadfully from three once again. Outside of Simone Fontecchio, who was 5 of 12 from the long line and had 22 points off the bench, 7 of 16 shooting. His addition has been fantastic. That's such a great acquisition. I really am a fan of Fontecchio, and I think that he's really going to add something good to this club moving forward. Evan Fournier was 2 of 10 off the bench and 2 of 8 from 3. Jaden Ivey was 0 for 5 from 3. Just had an awful night shooting the ball from the long line. Cade Cunningham was 4 of 8, which is awesome, 50%. And actually, he was 4 of 8 from 3 and 8 of 20 overall from the field. So half of his made buckets came from 3. He shot better from 3 than he did overall. He was 4 of 16, shot 25% from the field everywhere else outside of 3. You had Isaiah Stewart was 1 for 4 from deep. Asar Thompson was 0 for 2, and that equated to 12 of 42 for 28.6% from 3. That is the entire difference in the ball game, as Miami shot 14 of 31. That's good for 45% from three. That's it. The Miami Heat also had 5 blocks in the game. The turnover number for the Pistons, only 9 for the Miami Heat, 10 for the Pistons, which the turnover number has been down, so that's good. They shot it well from the free throw line, 91% from the stripe. That's great. 43.8% from the field. That's a winnable number. What's not winnable, however, is the 28.6. Now, one of them is like an end of the shot clock. Ivy pulls up, airballs it to the end of the game. That's less than ideal. But I think that what we struggle with, Marcus Sasser was 0 for 3 from the field, threw up a big donut in 14 minutes, 0 for 3 from 3. His shot has struggled a little bit of late. If you're not shooting the ball well, effectively from deep, stop shooting it from there. Like if it's a wide open corner 3, then obviously pull the trigger and knock the shot down, right? But if you have an option and it's still early enough in the shot clock, like try to get to the basket. I don't understand. We're not shooting it well as a team overall. One guy's 0 for 4, 0 for 5 in the contest. That'd be Jaden Ivey, and I'll say 0 for 4 with that one at the end of the buzzer, end of the shot clock. Pardon me, that airball. It's just kind of all right. Yeah, you just caught it and chucked it, but yeah, you should be at least be able to hit the basket. Yeah, man, just get to the hoop. Get to the hoop. The other thing that bothers me a little bit, the one thing I've been noticing more and more, is there's some stagnation on offense. Right? Outside of the initial couple of actions, which is whether that's a ball screen or whatever the case may be, like I need more off-ball movement, right? I need more in the offense that is setting up the guy that doesn't have the basketball in his hands. And if a drive is made, like there was one point in the game, I think Jalen Duren's in the game, and as you're looking at the screen, he's on the far block. And, ends up there on the far block. Cade Cunningham's got the ball up top, and then you have 3 players on the near side wing. That would be the left wing. Corner, basically at the elbow there of the 3-point line where the break is at, and then a little bit higher up. And all 3 guys stand there and buy a ticket and watch and be spectators. Like, if anything, there's got to be some sort of rotation. The guy in the corner is kind of pinned. Like, you really can't, there's really nowhere to go unless that guy in the corner is going to relocate along the perimeter and somebody's going to replace him just to get some movement, right? So a lot of times, like, when you're coaching, you don't want the side of the ball to be stagnant, especially when going up against zone. So what do you do if the ball is passed away from the wing? Exchange spots. So if you got a guy in the corner, have him exchange at the wing. If you got a guy in the wing, have him exchange with your point guard up top. Just get people moving, right? Because people that stand still are easy to defend. And I a lot of times we see this with the Pistons. Like, Cade drives in. Nobody tries to, move to replace him at the top. The corner and wing aren't exchanging. Like, there's just no movement. Everybody's just so stagnant. And I really don't like to see that, right? My typical response to something like that is, if you want to watch, buy a ticket, right? If not, you got to get involved. Now, if Cade's got a one-on-one matchup and you think he's going to be able to get to the bucket, somebody should obviously replace where he just came from, because odds are, you see it a lot, a guy will drive into the paint, he'll get stopped there near the restricted area. There's a reverse pivot, and there's an opportunity there to then kick it out, right? But you got to have options to kick it out to. Everybody's just standing around. Like, somebody get up top and replace him, please. Have your corner and your wing exchange, or have your corner exchange and get up top. But regardless, get some sort of movement there on the perimeter. And if the long ball isn't falling, please, for the love of God, find a way to get to the basket. Now, the Pistons with 9 wins, it was somewhat comical at the beginning of the year. Not so much anymore. They're 9-52 on the year. That means they played 61 total games. You have 21 games remaining on the schedule. What are the odds that the Pistons will finish with a better record than the Detroit Lions? Here are the games they have remaining. They have a big home stretch coming up. Well, they will get 6 straight games at home, including the Nets tomorrow, then the Mavericks on the 9th, the Hornets on the 11th, the Raptors on the 13th, back-to-back games against the Miami Heat to close out their season series on the 15th and the 17th. So from tomorrow all the way until March 17th, they will be at home. That's a pretty long stretch. They'll then go on the road to Boston, back home for the Pacers and the Celtics and the Pelicans, on the road for the Knicks, Timberwolves, Wizards, Grizzlies will be at home, back on the road for 4 more in a row, the Hawks, Grizzlies, Nets, Sixers, and then they'll finish the season, Bulls at home, Dallas on the road, Spurs on the road. So the last Pistons home game is going to be April 11th if you want to go check them out at Little Caesars Arena. My question is, where are the games that they're going to win in order to surpass the Detroit Lions record this year? That's really quite staggering to me. And had you said at the beginning of the year the Detroit Lions could finish with a better regular season record, I'm not even counting the 2 playoff wins. I'm just talking about the 12-5 regular season, that the Detroit Lions in the regular season will finish with more victories than the Detroit Pistons, I would have said you are smoking meth. No way. The Pistons got to win 3 more games to tie the Detroit Lions in the regular season. They got to win 4 to surpass them. Where are those 4 wins coming from? Like, it's not going to be the Nets or the Mavs. The Hornets, maybe you put a question mark there. The Raptors, maybe you put a question mark there. You got to assume the Heat, Celtics, Pacers, Celtics, no's across the board. Pelicans, Knicks on the road in the Garden, no. Timberwolves, absolutely not. Wizards, yeah. Okay. So if somehow they can get past the Hornets and Raptors and put together 2 good games in a row, that gets them to 11 wins. They beat the Wizards on the 29th. That gets them to 12. And then they'd have to win 1 game between the Grizzlies twice, the Hawks, and the Bulls, the most winnable games there. I don't think they're going to beat Wemby and the Spurs. They're not beating Doncic and the Mavs. The Sixers, I don't care who they roll out there. They're probably not going to beat them either. The Nets, that ain't going to happen. So, like, really, I mean, what are the odds here that they can do this? 21 games remaining in the regular season, and the Pistons only have to win 4 games to surpass the Lions' regular season record. Do you think they will be? But Ryan, we might have to put that up in the poll. Like, do you think that the Pistons can actually do this? Like, that's astounding to me. You got one team that's 12-5, and I don't think you can count the playoff games because, I mean, if we did 14, they're definitely not hitting 14 wins. That's not going to happen. I mean, think about that. They'd have to win 6 games. 6 out of 21. When's the last time they won 6 out of 21 games? How sad is that? The state of this team. It's just brutal. Brutal. And I was a lot happier with the performance last night against the Miami Heat than I was against Orlando. I can tell you that much. Good scheduling, right, by the NBA there, that, you know, stay in Florida, play both the teams, and then move on with your lives. That's good scheduling. But outside of that, man, I mean, I thought it was a very poor performance against Orlando. I saw too many easy takes from Paolo Banchero, too many business decisions, like, let it go. Just let him dunk it on you. Like, I'm not real kosher with that. So for me, I don't know. I don't see a scenario. I don't see 4 games out there that they're going to win to get to 13. I mean, and it's sad. It truly is. You got a caller you say over there, Ben? What do you got?
You got Freddie on the line.
Freddie is on the line. Good. I have been waiting to talk to Freddie. Freddie, how are you this morning?
And Sunday, good morning, AB. Sunday, I watched Dan Miller's show. The Sports Wrap was the one 11 o'clock at night. What's it called?
Yeah.
Sports Wrap? Yeah. Tim McCormick was on there. He says the Pistons are 2 more years away, 2 more drafts away. I thought, man, 3 more years of Ivy, Cade, and Andre Drummond. Oh, Lord. Enjoy that. 2 more years. Well,
I found it very interesting when you were disparaging Jalen Duren earlier that his numbers compared to Bam Adebayo is pretty interesting. It's The Works, not Sports Wrap. It's The Works with Dan Miller.
Sports Works. Yeah. Well, listen, Jalen Duren has a great upside. There's no doubt about it. I mean, at least he won't go down 96 and tweet while he's driving 130 miles per hour. That I'll give him. Now, if you watch the games closely, Jalen Duren is under the basket, and they throw him the ball, and he dunks it, and he's 7 foot, and yeah, he should. So we need to see the NBA is an offensive game, and these guys need to be shooting threes and be able to do things, and he's just not doing it yet. So to me, he's Andre Drummond right now with a higher upside. There's nothing wrong with saying that. So all I'm saying is Tim McCormick was on SportsWorks and said 2 more years from the Pistons competing. I just thought 2 more years when you had the number 1 overall pick is pretty wild. But Tigers, I called. Listen, hold on. Now that I got you, Now that I got you on the phone, what do you want to hear from Jalen Rose? What do you want him to say? What will satisfy you here? Well, I need to know this. Jalen Rose, when he got on, only reason I stumbled into watching a documentary last night, and Jalen Rose was on it. I can't remember which one it was. I was watching it. So it reminded me, I said, he always keeps saying he got paid. That's why he was on this show doing the interview. I go, no, he wasn't. So I found the interview. All I'm saying is he got up there and he said, John Beilein did a really good job. Now this coach is going to take it to the next level.
Right, which is what most people believe. Most people believe that was going to be the case because he was going to bring in the top-tier recruit. Yes.
No. He never coached a game, and John Beilein came in with a really good resume when he came into Michigan. He had a really good career at West Virginia and the other school, which is I don't use Google. I do everything by Frugal. That's Friday plus Google. So,
no wonder the math is all wrong. We can't get any facts around here.
No, I give you a lot of facts. I don't need the Google to go find out.
So John Beilein's first year at Michigan, how many games did he win? I'll answer it for you.
I don't care what
it was 10.
I don't care what he did with his first year. But there was nobody saying that John Beilein was going to do this, this. He got up there and said Juwan Howard was going to do this, and this, and Beilein was good, but it's going to be better. Without even coaching a game. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
So we know retroactively, we know now that John Beilein is a superior coach than Juwan Howard. We have a body of work to be able to prove that, right?
Jalen Rose knew that when he did the interview. So that's what I'm talking about.
So that would be the question that you would want me to ask him. If I could get him on the show tomorrow, you would want me to ask him, did he believe that John Beilein was a better coach than Juwan Howard, or that Juwan Howard was going to be a better coach than John Beilein?
My point is I feel like John Beilein did so much for that program because he didn't win the titles that he went to. He got thrown to the curb by a lot of fans and a lot of people in the media that cover the Michigan that are fans of Michigan.
I am sorry that I was not around when all this was taking place, because that you wouldn't have heard that from me. John Beilein is an exceptional coach.
This isn't about you. I don't call to make points about you. You're just a guy that's just a messenger. That's all. I just talk to you so everybody in the state of Michigan can hear my point of view.
But had I been around, I never would have allowed that disparaging of John Beilein to happen. I never would have allowed that. But unfortunately, I do have to allow this break to happen. It's got to happen right now. We'll be right back.
Imagine this, winning big at Soaring Eagle. The food district is now open. There's something for everyone. From Bubba Coos Burritos to Bonanno's New York Pizza Kitchen to Guy Fieri's Chicken and Ike's Lovin' Sandwiches. Savor every delicious flavor at the all-new Food District. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
Fish on! The Ultimate Sports Show Grand Rapids is back March 7 through 10.
Over 4 football fields of fishing tackle, fishing boats, fishing trips, and hunting gear, all inside the Boss Place.
Shop 2 acres of the newest tackle from Michigan dealers who know Michigan waters and game fish.
With traveling specialty baits only available here once a year.
Book the trip of a lifetime at lodges, fly-ins, charters, and resorts.
Meet the guides and lodge owners at the show.
It's a fishing boat supermarket.
Get the best boat prices of the year from dealers who specialize specialize in rigging them right.
Free fishing and hunting seminars from the pros and guides on 5 stages.
See Lake Ultimate with bass boats floating right on the lake.
Plus rock climb and trout pond for the kids and the hog trough, a truck-size aquarium filled with game fish.
And the lumberjacks are back. See them climbing, chopping, and log rolling on Lake Ultimate.
It's all at the Ultimate Sports Show, March 7 through 10 at DeVos Place,
downtown Grand Rapids.
Sportsmen never miss it.
Save big on fuel with M-Perks. Earn points on your Meijer purchases in-store and online. Then use your points to claim a fuel reward and save up to $1 off per gallon of gas at Meijer. Claim your M-Perks fuel rewards in the Meijer app and ID at the pump to save. Plus, earn points for qualifying Meijer Express purchases and look for exclusive Meijer Express offers. Download the Meijer app to sign up or see Meijer.com to learn more. 10 cents to $1 off per gallon based on points earned. Exclusions apply. Not valid in Wisconsin. Max 30 gallons.
Huge here for Van Andel Institute Purple Community. Now, they're a grassroots fundraising network powered by the volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve health now and in the future. Learn more at purplecommunity.org.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Huge here. AB's doing a heck of a job, and I'm ready to drop some huge opinions about what he's talking about later today at 3 on the Michigan Sports Network.
It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Swings it out to Sadiq Bey. Defended in the corner.
To Abdul-Rahman at midcourt. Extra pass. And it goes for the win. The three-pointer by Jordan Poole. Here's the give. Walker. Kenneth Walker. Touchdown. Smarty.
Goff's got it. Back. Looks. Throws. Ends up. Yes. Caught. Touchdown to Court Myers. They did it. Amon-Ra St. Brown in the receiving end.
Sends one to deep left center field. Back it goes, and that ball's
Out of here. A grand slam from MSU Senior Night. He's got 2 goals. Larkin in on goal. Scores! His first career hat trick in his 7th season for Dylan Larkin.
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. Welcome back here, X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports and Network. Ben Glaze, is Freddie still there? Did he wait throughout the break? All right, I want to get right back to him. He called there at the end of hour number 2. I don't know how to train this guy to get him. You can't call at 7:50. You ain't got enough time. All right, welcome back here. You want to talk a little Tigers baseball?
Just so you know, I called at 7:41 because my 13-year-old made me mad in the car. So to make her mad, I called you. She gets mad when I call you before she opens up the door because her friends might hear me talking.
Well, how old is she? 13, you said?
Yeah, she'll be 14. Yeah. I miss her when she was 5 or 6. I really do.
That's okay. They all come back around.
I would come home from the pizzeria and she'd run to the door and her little ballerina outfit and Daddy, I love you, Papa, I miss you. And now it's like, what do you want? Oh, you want some money for volleyball? $3,000? Oh, here it is. Oh, I love you, Daddy. I know how it goes. So, yeah. Anyways, listen. I know you're a young man, good-looking man, talented man, got the voice of God. I want you to go back and watch those 86 and 89 Michigan basketball teams. I love those teams. Lloyd Vaught. Gary Grant was on the 89 team, but Antoine Jobert, Terry Mills, probably one of the original stretch fours. I always say Bill Lambier was the original stretch four, but Terry Mills might have been one of your original stretch fours. Lloyd Vaught, those guys were incredible, man. Ramiro Robinson, just a talented, fundamental team. Great team, man.
And a likable team, right? A likable, like it's a team you can get behind. You that actually matters to people. They want to feel connected to a team. They want to feel that they enjoy the players that they're out there watching, regardless of sport. Doesn't matter, hockey, baseball, basketball, softball, volleyball, Quidditch, pickleball. You want to like who's out there. And I don't know if we're a very likable team right now.
Well, and the funny thing is about back then when I watched sports, like the 89 team, every game wasn't on TV. You didn't see it on Twitter. They didn't have sports talk radio. So you had to wait till 6, 7, and 11 o'clock to get your highlights, a minute and a half, 2 minutes of highlights. So you were eager to watch them, and it made it more fascinating. And I think it's a championship team in this town that is not talked about enough. They just never talk about it. And it was one of the great teams, one of the great storylines in basketball history. Bo Schembecker goes in there and it tells I'm trying to blank on the head coach. He told him to take a hike. You want to go to Arizona State? Take a hike, buddy. And they put in Steve Fisher 6-0, and they won the championship. I mean, the rest is history. It's pretty neat. Anyways, before I get to Tigers, my last comment on John Beilein. Can I ask you this question about John Beilein?
Yeah.
And John Beilein was hired 2007, right around that time, and he left in 2019 or whatever. He left 2020. Is it fair to say, and this isn't throwing shade at Tom Izzo, from a 2010 to 2020, Was John Beilein the best head coach in Michigan, state of Michigan, for those 10 years? I would say so. Two championships. I mean, he brought him two titles.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's reasonable. I mean, he joined, 07, 08. He joins Michigan. They win 10 games, and then boom, they were in the tournament the next year. Then they had a run of 4 straight tournament appearances. They missed it in 2014, 2015. Then went right back to the NCAA tournament again for 4 more years. So they were high ranked as number 1 in the country. I think yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, Michigan. I mean, Beilein would have had a title every time I see that Italian kid in the NBA, DiVincenzo.
Dante DiVincenzo. Oh, what about the Trey Burke block? Like a clean block. We're still talking about that today. You could have had 2.
Yeah. Anyways, since you really interrupted me, I called it about the Tigers, which I'm used to you interrupting me all the time. But the Tigers, I gotta be honest with you, and I'm always honest. I am tired of hearing the slander that Scott Harris isn't doing enough. Chris Hill is just cheap. Listen, the 84 Tigers, from 79 through 84, this team had so much talent coming from the minors. It was almost like Al Avila was the general manager of 79. Just so much talent coming up. And their general manager, what they did was play all their young guys, and then in 84, they decided to trade some of those young guys because they saw them play, and they brought in some veterans like Chet Lemon, Larry Herndon, another guy escapes me right now, and then they brought in Willie Hernandez, and then they signed Darrell Evans. This team is not ready for that. They could still win a division this year, but you got to give Scott Harris some credit. He's got to see these guys play. He's got to see them play and see if they're going to stick with this team or do they trade them. If you bring in these veterans for a 1-year contract, you're going to block their growth. And they do have top three guys right now, top 3 guys in the minors in all of baseball, Joe, Keith, and Max Clark. You got to see these guys play before you block anybody in front of them, Anthony. I just think I think Scott Harris is getting way too much heat a year and a half in. I think it's wrong.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, they really want a big splash. The fact that Blake Snell's still hanging out there on the market, I think the other thing about the Scott Harris thing is that people act like because nothing happened or somebody wasn't signed that he didn't look into it. You know what I mean? And it's got to make sense for the team, not only this year, but long term. But Blake Snell sitting out there in unrestricted free agency, just lingering around. Like, I would love to see Chris go, you know what, give him 2-3 years. Like, let's go. Like, why not add him? And if we had to go, and people are like, well, you don't have room for him. I will make room for Blake Snell. And in fact, I will do so in a manner in which we could schedule it that I'm not bringing back Casey Mize, expecting him to go full bore this season, starting once every 5 days. Like, I think there's a way to work around that and to kind of ease him back into it. I think Mize will be fine. I think, based on the numbers that we've seen from his fastball velocity, like they've been up this spring training, which is a good thing. That's a very good sign. A lot of guys coming back from Tommy John seem to see that little uptick in miles per hour, the velo as the kids like to call it. But I think the Tigers are primed at the pump. I think the young guys come out this year. I'm expecting them to reach their potential, to play to the point where they're supposed to be. And we have an opportunity to have 2, 3, maybe 4 guys on this club that are foundational young pieces that will be, on a first-name basis in homes across America this year. That might sound bold, but that's where I'm at.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm surprised Blake Snell is still out there as well, too. So I'd have to do a deep dive on him. Has he been injured? Is Scott Boras demanded too much money? But in fairness, they might have signed Jack Flaherty too fast, the $15 million, and you could have given it to this guy. So Jack Flaherty, would he have been signed by anybody else for a 1-year, $15 million contract? You can critique Scott Harris on that because if you did it with the other general manager, you can do it with this guy as well too. So.
Let's see him pitch. Maybe he'll be worth the $15 million. Let's see what he does this year. It's still really early. Freddie, appreciate the call and the conversation and taking us on a trip back in time. And don't worry, your daughter, she's 13. She's at that age. There's going to be a little distance there. They always come back. They always do. We'll step aside. More X's and Bros after this.
It's time to go on the court with Anthony Bellino.
It's a new day to celebrate and be free. It's a new day full of action and excitement because it's a new day for winning only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. It's a new day. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com. The Michigan Wolverines went down to Columbus for the game on the hardwood. However, a much different tale than what took place on the gridiron back in November. The Maize and Blue dropped their 7th consecutive game, falling to the Buckeyes 84-61. This historically bad season for Michigan continues on. And for many Wolverine fans, it feels like basketball died so that football may live. But in all actuality, this team has been trending this way since the beginning of Juwan Howard's tenure. This is a historically bad season, the first time that they'll finish with single-digit wins since the 1981-82 campaign. And for many Michiganders, it can't get over quick enough. Michigan will host Nebraska in the season finale on Sunday at 12 noon on BTN.
Huge here for Van Andel Institute Purple Community. Now, they're a grassroots fundraising network powered by the volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve health now and in the future. Learn more at purplecommunity.org.
Hey, Michigan, let's go big. I'm Herman Moore, Lions All-Pro wide receiver, and I'm talking real big-time winning on the hottest slots and table games on one incredible app, Eagle Casino and Sports.
Sign up now and get up to $1,500. That's right. We'll match your deposit for up to $1,500, and you'll get 100 free spins.
Eagle Casino and Sports. Made in Michigan, made for Michigan.
Must be 21 or older and in Michigan to play.
Huge here. AB's doing a heck of a job, and I'm ready to drop some huge opinions about what he's talking about later today at 3 on the Michigan Sports Network.
This is X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. Right now, we are going to talk about the Detroit Red Wings. So everybody turn up your radio and buckle up because we are terrible at our jobs. We stink, and that's what I've come to the conclusion of this morning. We do our jobs incredibly poorly on this program. Let me just reiterate this here real quick. It is my firm belief, growing up in the area and in this state, that there is maybe a different way to do things, right? And that's what I try to do. I just try to do things differently. And because we have, within our network of stations, our affiliates across the state, we have our five directional schools, our five MAC schools, the three directional schools plus Toledo and Bowling Green, right? That I feel responsible for at least mentioning, and the day after the MAC has especially this time of year. Do we do it very much in the beginning of the season? No, not very much. But at this point of the year where everybody's jockeying for position, Mid-American Conference is coming up in Cleveland, the tournament, it's kind of a big deal. So, Michigan State, Pistons, Wings, obviously the Lions, and then Spartan football, Wolverines football, all of that. There's a lot every day. The Tigers, right? Michigan teams first. It's kind of our staple. And then if there's some, random off-the-wall, larger topics like Jamal Crawford talking about the state of youth athletics that we could talk about in the morning, then we'll do it. But outside of that, we try to cover literally everything that is taking place. It's a 3-hour show, right? This is how long the Gilligan's Tour was supposed to be. Now we are going to talk about the Red Wings. And so I hope that everyone is dialed in and ready to go. I had this scheduled for yesterday. A couple of phone calls derailed everything. But that happens, and that's okay. The number, if you want to share and join in our festivities, is 866-838-4843. That's 866-838-4843. Or you can text us using the keyword sports radio. Send that to the number 21,000. Strange number, I know. Just type in 21000. Then type in the messages sports radio. It'll say, hey, welcome. And then you can text us whatever you want. Paul and Jennison. What up, Paul? Wait a minute. A tale of two Pauls? No wonder Freddie's takes are all over the place. They come from Frugal. He said Michigan versus Michigan State football is going to be a close one. I think he predicted 27-24. Hilarious. Does Freddie ever own his Javier Baez swing and miss predictions? Love the show, Paul and Jennison. We need Javi to not be undisciplined Javi. And I don't know if that's ever going to happen because the early returns in spring training have not been ideal for my guy, El Mago. USDA Scott is on the line. Good morning, Scott. How are you?
Hey, brother. Hey, I had to follow Freddie. I played with all those guys. Before Fisher got there, the year before Steve Fisher got there and did an incredible recruiting job in the state, guys I graduated with, Glenn Blackwell, Pittsburgh, and then NBA. Jerome Lane, Pittsburgh, and then the NBA. Archie Tellis went to UAB, held all the state scoring records for college for years and years. Dan Marley from Traverse City, and obviously, NBA star. All those guys didn't even get recruited by Michigan and Michigan State in '84. So then the following year, guys that I played with, Boy Vaught from Kentwood, he was on my team. Glenn Rice, Jeff Grayer. Jeff Grayer got away. He was one he went to Iowa State, I think. And Mark Hughes from Muskegon. Terry Mills from Romulus. All those guys. Fish got all of them. I mean, he got all of them. Ramil Robinson, he wasn't from our state, but I mean, Steve Fisher was a recruiting genius. And I will say, those were all in-state guys. And the year before, they lost 6 or 7 in-state guys that were incredible players, and nobody recruited them before Fisher got there. And that was Judd's kind of, he was on his way, and Tommy was taking over. You know, I think Tommy took over in 90 or 91.
During Beilein's tenure, Freddie wants to know, was Beilein the best basketball coach in the state of Michigan?
Oh, please. That hurt my heart.
But is it true?
Tom Izzo from 2010 to 2019, Tom Izzo won 4 Big Ten tourney titles and made it to 3 Final Fours. Enough said. No, please, no. But John Beilein was an incredible coach. Don't get me wrong. He was a great coach. You know, but, you know, don't put him next to Tiger Woods. You know what I'm saying? Don't.
Tiger Woods won. Tiger Woods won the big one 18 times. Tom's only won it once.
I know. Look at his tourney record. There's nothing like it. Nothing. Coach Krzyzewski, who is arguably what they say is the best basketball coach ever, he's one of the few that have a better tourney record than Izzo does. And he only won 3.
3 times as many as Tom.
That's 2 times.
Yeah, 3. If he's got 3 and the other guy's got 1, that's 3 times as many. I just, you know.
Good. 1 times 3 is 3. You're right.
Rarely wrong, Scott. Rarely wrong.
Thank you for the mathematical lesson this morning.
You're welcome. You are welcome.
But those were just such incredible teams. And then on the Tiger front, I agree with Freddie on a lot of those points with the young kids. We got to see it, but at the same time, think about who we have to sign next year if they are the players that we need, and that may be the reason why we're not going to spend a lot of money this year because of Torque and Riley Green and Rogers and Kerry Carpenter. You know, a lot of people don't understand that some of those guys were languishing in the minors for a while, and they're coming up on contract years. And if they're the stars we think they're going to be, and we hope that they are, Casey Mize, Eric Skubal, these guys are all they're going to be contract years coming really fast. So if you're going to build a base, you got to pay the base.
Very interesting. I also looked up an article, but it's a little bit dated. The article is dated, August 8th of 2019. So we got a couple more years body of work there. But by the way, Michigan State, the 8th highest winning percentage all time in the NCAA tournament. Michigan is 7th, actually, with 0.1 percentage points higher than Michigan State. Just throwing that out there. I got to find a little bit more up to date because, like I said, that's 2019. But Michigan State is 8th, Michigan 7th, Kansas is 6th, Florida 5th, Kentucky is 4th, UCLA is 3rd, North Carolina is 2, and number 1 is Duke all time. But that is as of 2019. So I'm looking for the coaching wins here. Tom Izzo, Mike Krzyzewski's number 1 in wins, followed by Roy Williams, Dean Smith, Jim Boeheim, John Calipari, Bill Self, then Tom Izzo.
You just name, and I know I guess this is politically incorrect, but you name the Mount Rushmore right there.
If Mount Rushmore had more heads, then yes. He's got a 4-game lead on Calhoun. He's passed Wooden by 6 games, Lute Olson by 9, and Bobby Knight by 8. So, Lute Olson by 7, Bobby Knight by 8. But Scott, we got to go. Appreciate the call this morning. We got to talk some Spartan hoops on the other side. We got Senior Night coming up tonight, Scott. Boo Buie is in town. Is he going to ruin the Senior Night? Plus the Red Wings. We got to get to them, too. We'll be back with more X's and Bros after this. Here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Fish on! The Ultimate Sports Show Grand Rapids is back March 7 through 10.
Over 4 football fields of fishing tackle, fishing boats, fishing trips, and hunting gear, all inside the Boss Place.
Shop 2 acres of the newest tackle from Michigan dealers who know Michigan waters and game fish.
With traveling specialty baits only available here once a year.
Book the trip of a lifetime at lodges, fly-ins, charters, and resorts.
Meet the guides and lodge owners at the show.
It's a fishing boat supermarket.
Get the best boat prices of the year from dealers who specialize
specialize in rigging them right. Free fishing and hunting seminars from the pros and guides on 5 stages.
See Lake Ultimate with bass boats floating right on the lake.
Plus rock climb and trout pond for the kids, hog trough, and more.
And the lumberjacks are back. See them climbing and log rolling on Lake Ultimate.
It's all at the Ultimate Sports Show this Thursday through Sunday at DeVos Place. Thursday only, bring in a bag of 6 or more non-perishable grocery items for sportsmen against hunger. Get free admission to the show. UltimateSportsShow.com.
Roast Umber is a farm direct coffee sourced from Central American farmers and roasted in Grand Rapids. And also the Nitro Cold Brew Coffee is a convenient and healthy option for energy with no sugar or additives. Look for it at your local retailer or at roastumber.com.
Tracy, over to you for weather.
The sun must be shining, Dave, because the 7 for 7 sale is back at Meijer. Mix or match hundreds of items like extra large avocados, Kraft macaroni and cheese, and Dan Greek yogurt. Pick any 7 for just $7. There's a strong chance of saving with the same quality Meijer deals in-store or online. Back to you, Dave.
Sounds great, Tracy.
Deals so good, you've just got to talk about them. Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in the Meijer app.
Van Andel Institute Purple Community is a grassroots fundraising network powered by the dedicated volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve human health now and in the future. When you raise funds through the Van Andel Institute Purple Community, 100% of the proceeds go directly to the Institute's research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's, as well as VAI's science education programs. Learn how you can get involved at purplecommunity.org.
Miss any of today's show? Find our podcast and listen on demand on Google, Apple, Spotify, the iHeartRadio app, or wherever you get your podcast. Now, back to X's and Bros with Anthony Bellino here on the Michigan Sports Network.
It's a debate. You could make the case for both. That's what made Beeline's tenure great. Both teams were humming at the same time. Boy, it sure did make it a lot of fun, didn't it? Made it a lot of fun when both teams were good, Michigan and Michigan State. All right, we'll get to senior night here momentarily. First up, something I wanted to get to yesterday, but couldn't. This is the big breaking news regarding tonight's massive matchup between the Detroit Red Wings and the Colorado Avalanche.
We're still in a maintenance, or?
No, Dylan's out. Approximately 2 weeks, lower body injury. So we'll probably have a better feel of his progress after the road trip.
Now, Newsy went on to say that they're probably not going to. They're not going to really look to call anybody up at this point. I do believe that there is there's some very good potential where the Calder Cup race in Grand Rapids. Things are really heating up, and they're on a point streak of their own. It was 17 consecutive points earned by the Griffins, so they're humming really at the same time. What I find is very interesting about this is that Bellino is going to get bumped up to the top line according to the morning skates and everything that I have been hearing, listening, reading to in regards to tonight's contest with the Colorado Avalanche. So we just had that big time matchup between these two teams a couple Thursdays ago, in which the Wings went down 1-0, battled back, won it in overtime. It was sensational, right? And that was exactly what we wanted to see. I actually got to work that game. That was a lot of fun. Back-to-back losses now with another big test. This one a road game tonight, 9:30. So we all got to tonight to watch the Wingdings here at 72 points, tied with Tampa Bay. This is a tough part of the schedule. And you're looking at Dylan Larkin now, the captain of your team, the guy who leads the team in total points, who's going to be out for 2 weeks, right? So you're looking at, he's going to be gone this entire road trip, in which they'll play Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Tuesday, at Colorado, at Arizona, at Vegas, at Buffalo. And then Thursday and Saturday the following week, they're at home for Arizona and Buffalo before they go back on the road, Pittsburgh. That's kind of the wheelhouse that we're looking at right now for Larkin. Maybe somewhere the week of the 19th, week of the 18th, maybe he returns. But this team is, this is one of those moments where Joe Bellino isn't a youngster anymore. Like, Joe Bellino's a guy that at this point, this is your moment right here. And I don't mean, it's not going to be obviously all placed on him. He's going to play 19, 20, 22 minutes or whatever the case may be, depending on the shifts and everything else. But they've earned this right to be exactly where they're at right now through how competitive they have been. And they've had a couple of, drop-offs early on in the season that it was, questionable. They add Patrick Kane to the lineup. He has been a blessing. I actually figured out what hip resurfacing surgery is. It's basically like hip replacement, but instead of one thing, they do another. They don't totally replace the hip. They put like a metal socket in there. It sounds terrible to go through at the tender age of 35. But Patrick Kane's out there, and he's doing it. The power play is humming. The penalty kill has been good. But the last couple of games, I think that early on, Detroit and Florida going back and forth, both teams had some good chances, and Florida was just all over them. That's why Florida is, arguably the best team in the league right now. They play a suffocating brand of hockey that is tough. And that's these are the games you want. These are the opportunities that you want. I'm not going to sleep on Arizona. Vegas is tough. Buffalo's one you got to mark down. You have to get points there. But you're going on the road. You got 4 games. If you get points in all 4 games, you're feeling pretty good. But this is the high-pressure situation that you want. And if you're Joe Bellino, you're not the young prospect anymore. You're on the third line. You're getting elevated to the one line. You're going to be, surrounded by all-star caliber talent with the Brinket on one side and Kane on the other. This is your moment, right? You can, this is what you have been waiting for your entire life, and it's coming at you this week.
Yeah, I think we got to come ready to play. Right from the first game on the road trip. Obviously, a team like Colorado, who's, obviously a world-class team and one of the best teams in the league. we got to, be ready to come play, and we can't be finding excuses.
I didn't realize how loud the background noise was going to be in that clip right there. We need a better microphone. We need everybody else to pipe down a little bit. But that's what happens. You go to the locker room. You're going to have things like that. But Bellino's basically saying, like, look, we have this opportunity right in front of us. Like you are in the spot that you want to be in. You're in the spot everybody works for. You're in the spot that this winged wheel, this logo, this worldwide brand was built in spots like these, right? It was built for this. And this is a very, in the common era of hockey, in the salary cap era, looking back to the 02 team, and you look at the best players ever assembled by the NHL, you had 9 players from that 02 team that were there, present, accounted for. Like it's or was it the 08 team? No, I can't remember. But like literally, you have an opportunity to take your game to the next level. There's a lot of pressure there, but you got to play your game, and you know that you have the talent around you in order to do it. And that's what I look at. Like Joe Bellino, it's got a big series of games here. This is where you can elevate your status, elevate your profile, and you belong, right? You belong. That's why you're here. That's why you're on this team. I don't foresee them bringing anybody up. Deadline deal. I don't know if there's going to be a real mover or shaker, a big name that's going to, move the dial at all. I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen. There might be some smaller moves that Stevie Y is doing because remember, prior to Patrick Kane signing, I think most people believe that where the team was at was kind of a little bit ahead of schedule, right? And you still want to be able to position yourself because you see what's in front of you right now. You just got to get into the tournament. Once you're in, anything can happen in hockey. Once you're in, you get a hot goaltender. That's all you need. A hot goaltender, this offense can score. Now, in the last 3 games, the differential's been 9-3, so a -6. That's not great. The offense has got to get going. A lot of good chances against Bob in net for the Panthers there, Sergei Bobrovsky, but they just weren't able to capitalize on it. And now, okay, Colorado, they're going to be at full strength. Like you expect this, and you're down a guy. This is a really good opportunity tonight. Am I going to stay up and watch it? Absolutely. Am I going to hang on every win? Yes. Am I going to take every loss kind of hard? Yes, because there's nothing more that I want than to see this team playing relevant games at the end of the year and giving us a playoff chase. That's what I want. I want to be in there. I want to mix it up. That's what I want to do. Also taking place tonight, we will have Michigan State Senior Night will be taking place. And it is going to be a battle royale later on this evening because an old friend is paying a visit to the Br0's Center, right? And it is going to be a little sketchy. Now, what happened was last night, Purdue had won. Purdue beat Illinois, so Purdue wins the Big Ten regular season. Congratulations to them. Banner time, that's exciting. Love to be able to do that. But also, at the same time, we still have a lot to fight for. Ryan is here. And Boo Buie and the boys are coming to town. 7 o'clock tip-off tonight on BTN. You nervous?
Of course I'm nervous. I mean, this man's been haunting the college since 1855 during his sophomore year of play. Like, it's just ridiculous. I wonder if they'll honor him with a jersey tonight, and he'll get to kiss the floor. I mean, it's only right.
This is a 20-9 Northwestern team that is 11-7 in conference play. Michigan State 17-12, 9-9 in the Big Ten. What's really interesting, these two teams average an identical 74.4 points per game. What are the odds of that? Points against, Michigan State a little bit better defensively at 3.1 points better. Northwestern giving up about 69.6, Michigan State 66.5. Michigan State shoots it 0.8% percentage points better from the field at 46.8%. Northwestern's at 46% even. The assist numbers are damn near the same. The block numbers, the steal numbers. This is head-to-head, two teams that are basically identical.
They are, but they also aren't for this matchup, only because Northwestern is having a bad injury luck at the moment. It's Ty Berry, he's out for the year. Their big guy, Matt Nicholson, I believe is questionable tonight. I believe they have another guy who's missed last 2 games, another starter who is questionable for tonight. So it's not the Northwestern team that we've seen all year, but, I mean, Chris Collins is doing a tremendous job up in Evanston, and with the most beautiful sights on campus you could see just looking out onto the lake.
9.5-point favorite tonight, Michigan State is.
I think that goes into the injuries I think I just mentioned. But also, I wouldn't pass Boo Buie to drop a 50 burger tonight.
Are you with senior night here? You know, and it's a lot of I've already seen our boy DK tweeting out about, like, thank you, seniors. This season didn't go how we hoped. Like, look, I know that we all have them penciled in for bracketology, but this is a really big minimum 3-game stretch here. Minimum. Like,
it's a you win this one, and I think it cements it. I mean, granted, it's not where you wanted to be of, like, you know, second to last game of the regular season, and you're hoping a win will cement your tournament status. But it's a win over tournament team. I don't know if this is quad one or
quad one, baby.
So yeah, notch another quad win one under your belt, and that's 5 quad one wins you'll have, and you know that's for the Big Ten. That's a pretty solid quad one win number this year, considering you don't have many opportunities this year in the conference to get them.
Yeah, the Big Ten has been down across the board in comparison to where they've been at in years past.
College basketball seems to be down because you look at Michigan State, you're like, oh, this should really be a bubble team. And then you look at the teams under them in bracketology, you're like, okay, I don't know how Michigan State doesn't make this tournament. Not so much from what they've done. It's so much from just what the rest of college basketball is this season.
It's a weird year where, I mean, maybe it's UConn, maybe it's Houston, you know, Purdue. I got to see them actually do something in the tournament before I ever believe it. And it's like the last call for Zach Edey. And I was reading Dan Wolkin was tweeting about this yesterday in college basketball, and they were just talking about like what Caitlin Clark has done for the women's game and how the interest is up, and the Iowa women's game had such good numbers that it outdrew two NBA games that night, and there was allegedly a rumor that Fox was looking at hopping in and trying to throw some money. Now, that never happened because she already declared for the WNBA, but Fox was interested in like some sort of deal with Caitlin Clark, allegedly. Where is that high-profile guy in this year, like, that there just isn't like that must-see team or must-see player? Like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the best thing we got going for us.
Yeah, Milk Chamberlain.
Hilarious, by the way. Larry Blurred. Larry Blurred because he's got glasses. That's great.
Larry Blurred, Larry Nerd. Like, it's all great. But that's the one issue with the men's side, where the regular season, it's the big men that dominate, and the guards don't come out to play until March hits. Where women's basketball is seeing a nice rise in their sport, and they're having guards kind of take that over. I mean, granted, they did have like Angel Reese last year, South Carolina's center. I don't remember her name of the last few seasons, but Caitlin Clark kind of helps it explode, because what's more fun to see? Zach Edey taking 20 steps to lay the ball in off the glass, or Caitlin Clark hitting like 3 logo threes? It's Caitlin Clark. Is more exciting to watch than Zach Edey.
It's pretty interesting how we find ourselves in this position. Are you going to double dip tonight? Are you going to follow up Michigan State hoops with the Red Wings at 9:30, or are you going to, depending on the outcome of the game tonight, maybe just turn the television off?
It depends on what Boo Buie does, as he has for the last 5 years. He's been the holder of the mental health, and you know, that whole family for the last decade. I believe his half brother's Taylor Battle, who played at Penn State.
Yep.
Who plays the exact same way. And I tweeted this out 2 years ago, and I can't believe he's still here, but I'm just tired of this family. I mean, they produce great basketball players, but they can be out of my life. I don't need them in my life anymore. I just don't.
There's always that thorn in the side. I don't know if I have one of those players. You know, the thing about like Michigan State is, I really enjoyed Jay Rich. Like there are a lot of players that came through Michigan State who I actually really liked. You know what I mean? Like, there's not
the Beeline era of Michigan players. I mean,
how do you not love Duncan Robinson?
Yeah,
Drew Neitzel. I love Drew Neitzel.
Right, and they were fun players to watch, and that's what was great when Beeline was here. Is that Beeline had his run of threes versus Michigan State. He would win 3 times in a row, then lose a few times. So when Michigan was on, it was great for the state of Michigan. So
at one point, we were the epicenter of the college basketball world, and how quickly that just disintegrated. You know who's more exciting than Caitlin Clark and Zach Edey? Cohen Carr. Can we get more opportunities to watch Cohen Carr fly?
Today, probably. I think today's a good a freshman game for the first half. I'm hoping Xavier Booker starts, but, I mean, being senior night, Motley will probably get the nod, but maybe get pulled before even the first media timeout. So, who knows? I mean, Cohen Carr does play a solid 6 minutes every first half and then not see the floor in the second half.
Yeah, I hope that I hope there's an opportunity there to watch that young man fly, because there is there's something special about his just pure raw athletic ability that is, just like, let's get some backdoor cuts, let's get some lobs in there, let's get a little run and shoot, right? Come on, get a little transition ball, get him out there in open space, get him out there in the open floor, let him go.
Let's just see every senior hit a three. And, Marty, we'll allow you 1 3-pointer today just because it's senior night, and then you can be immediately pulled, and then, Xavier Booker will show you how a big man will shoot a 3. But let's just end it on a good note. It's been a weird 4 years for MSU basketball. It's been a weird 4 years for these kids on campus. I mean, they show up, COVID hits, then you have all this other stuff. You have a school shooting. You have a teammate get shot. It's just not your best 4 years if you're a college student to experience all that.
Your football team goes from super hyped to disintegrated.
Well, yeah, the football coach is sitting there.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Making explicit texts. Your board of trustees is, trying to cheat each other out of jobs. It just go out on a high note. Win the game easily. You've won 11 straight senior nights by average of like 15 points or more. So keep that streak alive as well.
Keep the train rolling. You'll get Michigan State versus Northwestern tonight. Like I said, that game will be over on BTN. And then on the 10th, they'll go to Indiana on CBS. But let's get through tonight first at 7 o'clock, followed up by Detroit Red Wings hockey. Massive rivalry game. 9:30 puck drop on the road in Colorado, taking on the Avs at 9:30. That is a late one, but at least we got a doubleheader of local teams in action for you this evening. That's all for us here on X's and Bros. As always, we appreciate all of you, no matter who you are, where you are, how you are listening. I say it all the time, and I actually mean it, and I hope that you all know that as well. We'll reconvene tomorrow morning, same time, same place, here on X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Leonard Skinner, ZZ Top, Friday, August 9th at Soaring Eagle Casino, the Sharp Dressed Simple Man Tour. Leonard Skinner and ZZ Top. Tickets start at $38 and are on sale now at the box office and etix.com. Part of the Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series. Leonard Skinner and ZZ Top. Friday, August 9th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Huge here for Van Andel Institute Purple Community. Now, they're a grassroots fundraising network powered by the volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve health now and in the future. Learn more at purplecommunity.org.
Fish on!
The Ultimate Sports Show Grand Rapids is back March 7 through 10.
Over 4 football fields of fishing tackle, fishing boats, fishing trips, and hunting gear, all inside the Boss Place.
Shop 2 acres of the newest tackle from Michigan dealers who know Michigan waters and game fish.
With traveling specialty baits only available here once a year.
Book the trip of a lifetime at lodges, fly-ins, charters, and resorts.
Meet the guides and lodge owners at the show.
It's a fishing boat supermarket.
Get the best boat prices of the year from dealers who specialize in rigging them right.
Free fishing and hunting seminars from the pros and guides on 5 stages.
See Lake Ultimate with bass boats floating right on the lake.
Plus rock climb and trout pond for the kids and the Hog Trough, a truck-size aquarium filled with game fish.
And the lumberjacks are back. See them climbing, chopping, and log rolling on Lake Ultimate.
It's all at the Ultimate Sports Show, March 7 through 10 at DeVos Place.
Downtown Grand Rapids.
Sportsmen never miss it.